Welcome to Play to the Whistle podcast, and I'm joined with Rich. How you doing?
Good evening, evening. I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah, sorry, Rich is from Eagle Eyed Football.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
know.
Palace fan here. Thanks for the invite today as well.
Yeah, man, good man. Because I wanted to get this done a while ago, but obviously was waiting for the manager merry-go-round to get sorted out. But
It was mad. 1 minute it's like, yes, you do know, Nuno. Next minute, oh, loosen foul. But yeah, we'll
yeah,
get
it's
into that. We'll
crazy.
get into that.
Yeah, man. So like, obviously, basically, it was a tough season for everyone. Like coming out of like COVID and
Yeah.
the restart from the season before. So, what was your thoughts, like, firstly on the season?
You know what? Start of the season, I just thought to myself, all right, you know what, let's just consolidate our league status. Good fun enough, obviously, the year before, I think the game against Bournemouth secured our status in the Premier League for another year. I just
Yeah,
thought everything with COVID happening, let's just get into like obviously last season gone. Just just maintain the Premiership status most importantly. Um, and then we had the start to the season where we picked up like 6 points out of nine, including
yeah,
beating Manchester United at Old
at Old Trafford. Yeah,
Trafford. And then I started thinking, oh, we might actually do all right,
yeah,
you know. So yeah, no, really, really happy with the start to the season. And then everything just went downhill, and it started off with the injuries.
yeah. There's a
Unfortunately,
lot. Yeah,
we don't have a big squad as it is, and with COVID and them getting run to the ground, we picked up some severe injuries, and Saha was one of them actually earlier on.
yeah,
And from when he
yeah. I
went in,
remember. Yeah,
things just dipped. We just couldn't buy a point, you know.
yeah. Because it was mad as well. Because even some, I know you signed Nathan Ferguson, and he just was. He's been injured
He's been injured
pretty much the whole
for the longest. Yeah, it's like
the
we
whole
signed him
time you had
injured.
him. Yeah, yeah. And but obviously you signed him. You signed Eze, and you know, yeah, he was quality for
So
you last
happy we signed
season.
him.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about your standout player anyway, if it wasn't him. But what was your thoughts on his first season?
He was my stand-up player, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
Coming from the championship, there has been a few other players that's made that jump. Now I was touting him for years just as a fan. It's like, listen, we
yeah,
need to get this guy in, especially because I actually thought Saha would be gone. So I thought it would be the ideal replacement. When I realized he came
yeah.
in and Saha was still there, I was thinking,
It's,
hey, this could be mad.
so, yeah, yeah, exactly,
You know?
exactly, yeah,
But he's come in like a house on fire. The Premier League doesn't look difficult to him. He sees it like it's a playground, like he's playing in the ends, like cage football.
yeah.
You know,
Because my thoughts on him was, I think, yeah, literally, he took like a duck to water to it, man. He never looked phased, didn't look out of place. It was quite easy for him. You didn't
yeah.
notice that he came from the championship at all. It didn't really seem like there was a jump for him.
And it's just the way he plays. He just attracts 2 to 3 players to him. He doesn't care. And
No, it's just
as much as Saha's may have more of the trickery and stuff, Eze plays with a bit more grace.
yeah,
He kind of like glides along the pitch, and he'll
yeah,
still duppy a guy. You know what I mean? And then obviously as the season went on, he had them product.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and then his injury was horrific, and obviously we
Yeah, it
hope to get
was.
him back soon. Obviously with the season starting, but
Yeah,
he just hit that rich vein of form. And that's my stand-up player, as a 100%.
yeah, definitely, and obviously, yeah, because he ruptured his Achilles. Like that's a tough injury for any footballer to have, and
Yeah,
I think it's 6 months, isn't it? And hopefully,
pretty
it's a bit
heavy.
shorter than that.
Yeah,
But
it's estimated hopefully beginning of like mid September, beginning of August, October, sorry. Um, which we'll take. We'll take that.
definitely,
As
yeah,
long as he's definitely back before the Christmas running, and hopefully we're not too battered because of the circumstances which we're facing at the moment, and hopefully he can
yeah,
come in and help us climb that table when the season starts.
yeah. No, definitely, definitely. Fingers crossed for him, man, because he was brilliant, man. I enjoyed watching him play for you guys, and he was a breath of fresh air. Whether it was coming off the left or the odd occasion when you played like a 4-2-3-1 and he
Yeah,
was like obviously on the inside, he was brilliant there. But obviously apart from him, what would you say was your highs of the season?
that win at Old Trafford.
Could be a result. Could be a result. Could be a
That win
moment
at
in the
Old Trafford
season.
for me. I know we've won there before, but this one, I felt we actually dominated.
Yeah,
Normally, it's everything's on the break. We actually
yeah,
claimed and played. You know, gave you guys a hard time, and obviously there's massive factors. You lot played late until like July or something. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
We
So
had. Yeah, we did.
there were definitely factors that played its part in it, but it was just so refreshing to see that we were actually expansive.
Definitely.
You
Yeah.
know, because we're pretty much known to two banks of four, or if it's 4-3-3, a whole bank of seven. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then just hope our attacking players do something. I mean, I've never known of a club to have three DMs as the midfield three. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
James McArthur tries to get forward,
Yeah.
but
No, we're gonna touch on that in a bit. But
yeah,
and what would you say was your lows of the season?
I would say finishing where we finished.
Okay.
Um,
Where would you expect him to finish?
I would have liked to really push for a top 10 finish.
Hmm.
Um, we've been in the Premier League like 8 seasons now since we returned, and we haven't actually. It feels mad to say this because we're now an established Premier League side, but have we actually progressed? You know,
But but isn't that progression in itself though? Because you see, Fulham done it again.
yeah,
Norwich, West Brom, th- they're known as yo-yo clubs.
yeah,
So isn't being an established team
and
progress?
the reason why I feel like okay, yes, I understand that's progress, but the reason why I'm a bit like we could be doing better is it's not like it's the third year we've established.
Mm.
You know, from year five we should be trying to aim a bit higher than fighting for relegation. You know,
Yeah,
and
definitely. Yeah,
at one stage, at one stage we were like eighth. You know, I think that was
yeah,
our highest
definitely.
point. We were eighth, and I was
Yeah.
thinking to myself, I'll take that. You know, me personally, right now, I don't want us to get Europe. I know it sounds mad, but I
Why
don't.
not?
Financially, it'll be great for us, but we don't
Yeah,
have the squad depth. You know, and
interesting.
there's been teams that have maybe gone into Europe and they've got relegated the following season.
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah,
You know, and a club like ours, until we're like we've got a massive squad. I know Steve Parrish doing a great job at the minute with the ownership, and we've balanced the books pretty much. You know, from the time we were going into administration and stuff. So, what I don't want is all that hard work that we've put in to have a
yeah,
European campaign. Which, don't get me wrong, financially it would be great for the club, but it could also have the adverse effect. You know, and if we ever go down, we could be finished.
yeah. But so, all right. Say for example, because that won't happen now because you're not in Europe. So you have a
Yeah,
good season now. Obviously, hypothetically, you sign players that do well, and we'll touch on this later on again when we talk about Vieira in the future. But so you get the good signings now, then you get another window next summer. You Europe would be okay, no?
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think it just takes a couple more seasons and such. I think
Okay.
the last season that we just had we got into Europe for now, with the fact that we've had about 13 players out of contract, with the fact that Roy Hodgson's leaving, it's not the right time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand that. I understand
Personally,
that.
I just feel like it's not the right time for the club. We've got a massive rebuild going on, and I know we're going to talk about Patrick Vieira in a minute. If he builds something and we get into Europe this season, cool, because we're now building
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah, definitely,
and
yeah.
such. And I feel from now, hopefully, we can kick on.
No, definitely, and obviously you just touched on Roy Hodgson, and because I know a lot of Palace fans as well. I've gone to games like the last like 3 seasons as well because my partner's family supports Palace,
Yeah.
so I've gone down to quite a few games, and I like going to Spark, man.
It's
It's enjoyable,
the
man.
best atmosphere in the Prem.
It is. I can't even lie. I'm not even just saying that just because you're on here. Like I genuinely enjoy going to them games here. And in my opinion, I overall I think Roy Hodgson's done a good job for the club. And I know a lot of men might not agree with me, but he steadied the ship, which wasn't easy. He's not really had a budget
Yeah.
to speak of in the last like 3 or 4 seasons he's been there. And I think overall he's done a good job. But I can
I
see why some Palace fans are disgruntled at the
yeah.
football,
You,
at the selection
yeah.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
But what was your thoughts on his tenure at the club?
It was a great tenure. Great tenure. And you got to think,
Mm,
like, Roy Hodgson retired 70, 71 years old. There's
yeah,
been many managers within that age bracket have retired who are now called dinosaurs. He's actually one of the ones that I feel, even with age, he tried to even like adapt.
yeah,
You know, sometimes we can play some very good football. You know, very good football.
definitely. Yeah.
We actually can keep the ball very well. You know, and I think that is actually Roy Hodgson and credit to Ray Lewington as well. It's the actual style of play that they want to embed with the club. We just maybe need a few more better players to be been
Mm,
able to do that. So for Roy, yeah, I think he done an amazing job. Now, obviously, touching on the point where some fans feel a bit disgruntled, I think that's just due to the fact that, like I said, we've been in the Premier League quite some time, and we've seen clubs like Wolves,
mm.
Leeds,
I know what you're gonna. Yeah,
Villa.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think that's about it. But like they've come up and done bits.
Hmm.
Granted, some of them may have like better finances. Like Villa's a massive club, and so are
Yeah, they've
Leeds.
got.
You know,
Yeah,
the financial backing and such, but also the style of play. Like the fact that obviously Nuno, when he came in with Wolves, was not afraid, not afraid. He
yeah,
came and he didn't care what team you were. He had a style of play. He stuck to it. It was exciting, and he got results from it. So for us
yeah.
as a Premier League team who's been there over the years, to see these teams now come and overtake us to an extent, obviously via league table, it's a bit frustrating. It's a bit frustrating.
But you just touched on it yourself, yeah. And if I think I've said this before to like people I know, I think you have to talk about the budget when you talk about some of those things as well because Wolves have got a lot of money. They've got like wealthy owners.
Yeah.
They've got the Portuguese links with Jorge Mendes on the board. Leeds have also spent a bit. So have Villa. Do you factor that in when when you think of the ability of the squad and the style of play?
Um, Maybe the players we have, not so much the style of play. Because I guess a coach can have any sort of players, and if he has the style of play, he has the style of play. Like for example, when we had Frank de Boer, we probably
Yeah,
had a worse squad than we do now to an
yeah,
extent.
yeah.
Um, and he tried to embed a style of play, it just didn't work for us. I think he tried to change too much too soon.
I was just going to ask about that. Do
We
you
went
think it was
straight
too
to
much
three
too soon
five
with
two,
him?
like,
Playing up
straight
from the
away,
back, it was
like
yeah,
we've been doing it for years.
yeah,
It's bad. Like for example, looking at England the other day, they went to 3-5-2. They've been playing 4-3-3 throughout the tournament. They went 3-5-2, and it took a while. Like Mason Mount looked lost, and
yeah.
that's the problem we had. We're trying to play out from the back with players who are not accustomed to playing out from the back, and
We as we know that yeah that can go
it
wrong.
can go
Like
south so quick. And all of a sudden, we've lost 5 games.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Um,
yeah,
So the style of play, yes, it's important, and obviously it goes hand in hand with the players we have. Um, but I feel personally we need to just stick with 4-3-3.
yeah.
Just stick to that. We went 4-4-2 this year, and I think it's just to make us a bit more defensively sound and solid. But we just couldn't create a thing.
Yeah, I think what sometimes I think 4-4-2 nowadays anyway because most people play 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3.
Yeah,
It's a system that's used to be compact and it's suited to play on the counter.
yeah,
Now, for me, if you're going to play, I didn't mind him playing 4-4-2, but I thought that if you're going to play that, then Zaha has to play on the wing
yeah.
and
He had,
Townsend on the other side or someone so that you can actually get out
yeah.
because there's nothing wrong with. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think there's nothing wrong with teams being defensive or being compact, but you got to have a plan to get out and
This is
be able
it.
to break. And I
And
felt like sometimes that's what I was going to ask you. That was going to be my question. Was did you think sometimes in the 4-4-2 the selection was like wrong?
I think I think the aspect that we went 4-4-2. Yes, I understand why he's done it, but I think it was wrong because it kind of kills any sort of attacking. flow we have. Saha from the left hand side is one of the most unplayable players in the league
Unplayable.
on his
Yeah,
day. You know,
on his day, 100%.
and all we needed to do is have like an Andros Townsend on the right hand side or Jordan Ayew, put Eze in the 10, let him find those pockets.
Fireworks.
I think we
Fireworks.
would have
Yeah,
been fine.
definitely.
Because what happened when we went 4-4-2? Eze went left midfield, and now he's becoming a defender.
Like at left back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's mad. He's like literally having to defend. As obviously with Palace, and we defend more than we attack at most times.
yeah,
So when he does pick up the ball, he's picking up the ball pretty much on the edge of his box. I think it was a goal
yeah.
against Sheffield United. I think he ran from the edge of his. pretty much,
Yeah. From just before the halfway line, I
yeah,
remember. Yeah,
and this is where he's
crazy.
picking up the ball. Where someone like him and Zaha shouldn't be picking up the ball from there. They should be picking up the ball
Higher
towards
up the
the
pitch.
opponent's box.
Yeah,
But because we've got a 4-4-2, and not only that, with that 4-4-2, the two midfielders were Milo and MacArthur, who are
and this was
not progressive. I mean, until Gyro came
yeah.
on, Gyro, he's a bit better going forward, to be fair, and he's a bit better on the ball.
Yes, he is.
And don't forget, we had Kayute playing centre back. Who did
Wait,
he did a great job. Don't get me wrong, he did a fantastic job, and he's not a
see, I was gonna, but see, I was gonna ask you that actually as well. All of the things that you just said. So, firstly, with the midfield here, like, what was your thoughts on the season that Milo had, and and the MacArthur and McCarthy situation? Do you think the balance was right in there, or did it need a bit more, like players that can actually progress the ball? Because
yeah.
also a factor into that was his like Hodgson's use of Maya, I think, just wasn't really good enough because I felt like in a 4-3-3 or even in a 4-4-2 sometimes he could have played in a two or he could have played him like in a like centrally in a 4-3-3. So it was that his cautiousness or was that just he just didn't believe in them players?
I think, and this is going to be a bold statement I'm making here, but I think there's a lack of scouting there.
Okay.
I don't think he knew much about Max Meyer at all, personally, because I would have stuck him in the 10. We were
Yeah,
already
common
playing
sense, yeah.
4-3-3.
Common sense.
We were
Common
already
sense,
playing
yeah.
4-3-3, and you've got Meyer playing as a wing forward on the right hand side. This is the
Crazy.
Premier League where number one, he's got to adapt. Yes, he's a young German international, but he's got to adapt to the pace of the league, and he's doing doggies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's mad.
It was crazy.
But whenever
Yeah.
he was central, he found himself either getting a goal or getting creating some sort of chance to play him in the 10, and this is why I feel hopefully under which we'll get onto. I hope our system changes. So you asked about Milo and obviously McCarthy. Both of them are defensively minded midfielders. Really, MacArthur
because
did his
sometimes
best to try and get forward. Credit to him. But if we're playing 4-4-2 and we've got two defensively minded midfielders, the emphasis then becomes on Townsend and Eze to support the front line. But then they've also got to work back because half the time we don't have the ball.
exactly.
So tactically it's a mess. If we play 4-3-3, then you can have the two holding. That's fine. And that's our best formation, personally. And
Definitely.
yeah, I just think the change of shape was just sent us. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah. And with Luca, do you feel like it's time with him to maybe is it time for him to move on? Do you still think he's doing a good job in there? What's your,
I want him in there.
you still want him in there, yeah?
And he may not have the legs anymore, but that's why Gyro was so important. Him and Gyro formed a wicked partnership.
Yeah, definitely. I like Jairo in there.
He's the young one. He's got the legs.
He's comfortable on the ball.
He's comfortable on the ball, and it allows Milo to just be Milo. Just win the ball back. Get your customary yellow card, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just win the ball back for us. And Gyro, when he actually played, we started to actually progress the ball a bit quicker. You know,
Yeah.
and it did look better. So as long as the balance is right in the two, fair enough, it could work. But I would prefer 4-3-3.
That's fair enough, man. And what was your thoughts with so you liked Coyote at the back?
Not saying I liked it. I would prefer, but
Okay.
I'm not angry with the job he did.
Fair enough.
He's a centre midfielder first and foremost. But
Yeah.
first season playing centre back, I think he did a very good job.
Yeah, I thought he was okay, but I just felt like part like what we're saying about how Hodgson used Maya or like having Eze on the left or sometimes I just thought it was another one of his weird little selections where
Yeah,
he had but there was times where I know there was injuries at the start,
that
but there was
what
times
had an
where
impact.
Saka was fit. There was times when Cahill was fit again, and they were just sitting on the bench.
Yeah,
You
I
think
mean,
why don't you just?
with Cahill, he definitely came straight back in. Cahill, he's phenomenal to be honest.
I think that was a great signing. Yeah,
Great, I was so happy we got him.
he done really well for the club.
And
Definitely,
no disrespect to Coyote, Cahill and Tompkins was such a much better centre back pairing.
definitely, 100%.
Um, but Tompkins had a bad injury, really
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
injuries, kept him out for a while. Then obviously Cahill had some injuries and stuff. So Coyote kind of ended up being the mainstay through no fault of his own. Through no fault
yeah.
of his own. So as much as it wasn't ideal, I guess because he was the mainstay and he wasn't too sure with Tompkins and Cahill's like fitness from time to time. It was a good decision to keep him back there, to be honest. But hopefully we get some solid centre backs and he can go back into midfield.
Yeah, definitely, man. And as a whole, do you think it was the right time for Hodgson to move on?
I think so. I think it's gonna sound mad, but I think the fans were starting to turn.
That's interesting.
Yes, they were, and this is my
I
personal
kind of
opinion.
agree. I kind of agree.
And I don't want to speak for everyone, but it's just from what I could see. I think everyone's very appreciative of what he's done. He's done an amazing job. Um, but we were becoming a very boring side to watch. We're becoming a. I mean, even with his substitutions, they were just like we signed Jean Matata,
I forgot to ask you about that. Yeah,
and
because I was gonna say when we was just talking about like squad use, that was another. It's but he wasn't the only guy that he done it with. But it's interesting that you sign players and then he uses them for a game or two and then just doesn't use them. And it's I
Mateta
remember he even
scored.
scored a goal.
He scored
He
against
scored a great
Brighton
goal.
and didn't
Yeah,
play any minutes. After it's
yeah,
crazy. I think when you look at the bench at the time, you would have like Van Aanholt, um, Schlupp, Mateta, Batshuayi, sometimes Ayu or Townsend, depending on who's on the right. Who are they're decent players. You'll
yeah.
see you'll see one sub made.
Because that was even another one. Like when you re-signed Batshuayi on loan, I thought, yeah, that's a good
I
move.
was happy.
Done really well the first time.
I
I
thought,
thought he was going
yeah,
to use him.
we've got three strikers now,
Yeah,
and I thought happy days. You didn't see anything, didn't see any minutes
yeah,
really. And then obviously Mateta came in, scored a wicked goal against Brighton, and I think he played well. I was thinking, good, let's see a run of games, especially when Benteke actually was injured,
yeah, exactly.
didn't play.
Yeah,
Didn't-
that was the weird one for me when I. It's something I started to notice with him and is thinking maybe he was really apprehensive just to use certain
Yeah,
players, and it was starting to make me think like I don't know if there was fallouts or because you know sometimes that can happen and then or sometimes managers are just not having a player, but it
yeah,
was starting to happen. It was just starting to happen too many
it was a
with
bit
too many
too
players. If
much,
you, yeah,
a bit too often. And I mean, the telling game was actually that Brighton game where at the Amex we had like about 15% possession,
yeah,
if that.
it
We
was
were
crazy
getting
game.
battered,
Yeah,
and he just about
yeah, yeah.
made the change in that. Like, and obviously, Benteke
It
had
was a
come
great
on.
goal though.
Mateta scored a great goal. Benteke scored an awesome goal.
Great goal.
Like absolute
Great
scenes.
goal.
I was falling over in my front room and all sorts.
Yeah,
It was a literal smash and grab. And
yeah, definitely.
not only that, it kind of sealed our status as a Premier League club again because we were on a terrible run. Like we were getting
Yeah,
sucked in.
yeah. For the and do you know what? To be honest as well, you was getting sucked in, and it's probably the first time you've been in that situation for a while.
Yeah,
In terms of like because the last 3 or 4 seasons before that were comfortable,
yeah,
like
comfortable.
mid-table,
We were
weren't they?
safe. Like by
Yeah,
March, we'll say, yeah,
yeah,
we'll be fine and such.
definitely, definitely. I thought that too, and I started to notice that, but yeah, and I think it kind of brings me on like because we are talking about squad players, and it kind of brings me on to my next question. Yeah, in terms of the mass amount of squad exits this summer, um, like
I have
because
the list
for
here if you
me,
want it.
Read it out, man.
Out of contract. Mamadou Sakho, Andros Townsend, Christian Benteke, but I reckon he'll get a new contract. Patrick Van
He
Arn-
signed a new deal already, Benteke.
Patrick Van Arnholt, James McCarthy, Nathaniel Klein, Joe Ward, Scott Dan, Gary Cahill, Wayne Hennessy, who's now rumoured to go to Chelsea, Connor Wickham, and Michi Batshuayi. And those are like the senior players.
Yeah, it's a lot of players, and like, what's your thoughts on that amount at the same time, and also which ones would you have kept?
Well, it shows it's just crazy how contracts can get left to such a late minute, last minute.com. And obviously, a club of our size, we shouldn't be allowing this to happen. It's not like we've got the resources or the money to just, all right, that's all right, we'll just replace them. You know, if we're talking wage wise, fair enough. If we're gonna,
It clears a lot of the wage
yeah,
bill,
if you're trying to
but
clear, yeah, but we're losing.
it's half the squad.
That's tons of experience, tons of experience. Obviously, like you said, Benteke signed a new 2-year deal. Um, Crazy amount of experience here. You know, to answer your question about who I'd keep Townsend because he just gives it all for the shirt.
Okay,
Um, and it's just another. It's just like I said, we've got to keep the experience. There's going to be a lot of youth coming through. Um,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
yeah. So um,
But
Townsend,
who else would you? Yeah,
I would actually cash in on Van Arnholt, try and get some fun. I think Tyreek Mitchell's a new starting left back anyway. So um,
so in terms of the Van Arnold, you would let Van Arnold go because his contract's run out as well, hasn't it?
you just let him go, take his wages off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you wasn't happy with him because that's interesting because the people I talked to about Palace with as well, they're not really that fast that he's going over
you know what it is. He's very good going forward.
and just
Just
nothing
bad
going
defensively.
defensively.
He makes
Yeah,
awful decisions. And considering we're a defense minded team, to get that aspect of your game wrong is a problem.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And it's also decision making. Like we could potentially under the cosh, and we might have a counter. He'll bomb on, and then if we lose the ball, he's nowhere to be seen. Like it's just
yeah.
mad. Tyreek Mitchell, young player, he's coming, and I've been so impressed.
I was impressed with him. I was
Been
impressed with him. I
so
thought he
impressed.
came in, slotted in, done a good job,
Yeah,
man.
like it was nothing. And from the
Yeah.
first sight of him, I was like, this boy needs to play. This boy needs to play. Who else? James McCarthy can go. Nathaniel Klein. I guess if
What's your
Joe,
thoughts on Klein's season?
it was all right. He started well.
Yeah, he did. I thought so.
Started
Yeah.
very well, and then he had a bit of an injury, and then he was kind of then bit part to Joe Ward. He started off very well. So I'll keep Kleiny. I'll keep Ward as well. To be honest,
You'd keep Wood.
if Nathan
Interesting.
Ferguson ain't fit, I'll keep those two right backs.
Okay.
If Nathan Ferguson can prove his fitness, then I want him starting because of what I've seen of him in the past. I like him. I
Okay.
like it. Very adventurous. Scott Dan can go. Gary Cahill needs to stay. Wayne Hennessy might as well go because we've got Gaeta and also
Butland.
Butland. Connor Wickham might as well find a new club as well.
Listen, I think, do you know what's funny? Sorry, and I don't know if there's any Palace fans that like him here, but I think that's the one out of all of them that he definitely needs to go because I think he's on 60 grand a week and
He's
he's
just
just
forever
injured and he
injured.
does nothing.
Forever
Yeah,
injured. But that and
forever injured,
going
man.
into the squad selections, he was still in front of like the Matetas, the
Yeah,
Batshuayis and stuff. And you know,
it's crazy.
it is mad. It's mad. And Batshuayi, there was no point of getting it back if you wanted to use him. It's just I don't understand.
No point there.
So it now brings the question: did Roy want these players, or did the board
I,
sign him?
I was going to ask that as well because I feel like not just at Palace, I think this happens at a lot of clubs. Even when you see at United with Van der Beek,
Yeah,
or I remember Emery was saying that he never wanted Pepe, he wanted Zaha,
yeah,
so he was slightly reluctant to use him.
yeah,
So I know this happens at other clubs as well. I don't think Oli wanted Van der Beek at all, as I said when I come
yeah,
on your
yeah.
show. Um, do you think that was the case with some of these players with Roy?
It must be because he just didn't use them. Didn't use them at
Yeah,
all. It's unbelievable. I mean, sometimes when we need a goal, he's taking off a striker and bringing on another midfielder.
Yeah,
Like, and it's like, wait, we need a goal here. Like, we've got two forwards on the bench. I was
yeah,
very happy when Mateta came in because I thought to myself, okay, at least we've got Mateta, Ayu, Benteke, and Batshuayi. Four strikers, let them fight it out.
definitely, yeah.
It was Benteke.
But I think it's we might as well say it though. I think a lot of these guys are their contracts are up, but are they still training with the club? Some of these guys.
Yeah, I believe so at the moment.
Bec-
I think it's still everything's under negotiations. Decisions are going to be made. Obviously, now that we've got a manager, that helps. The one thing I
Because
was scared
he
about is us going into preseason training and no manager, because that would
yeah,
have caused a load of problems.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, so you've already touched on Tyreek Mitchell, and we've touched on obviously like a lot of the squad exits. There's a lot of obviously players coming through the academy. I know the academy side, the under 23s did well last
23s,
season. Category status changed,
yeah,
which is obviously good for the club, good for the area and the community.
absolutely.
What's your thoughts on some of the talent coming through, and which, if you like, off the top of your head, which players do you think are ready for the first team?
Right. So first, let me just touch on the academy status. It's amazing that we've got that. Copa's Cope Road now got an amazing the facilities are fantastic.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Beckenham. And we've always Palace has always been a club that breeds talent.
always in
Always.
the south,
Like it's
always
literally you could call it the South London hub of football.
it
You
is.
know. So it's just now okay that transition from the academy to the first team. Yes, we've seen it through Saha, but I don't think we've seen it enough. We've sent so many players out on loan who have now signed elsewhere. You know, Sully Kai Kai brings to mind. For me
Yeah,
personally, I thought yes, he's ready to give him a chance in the
yeah,
first team. He's gone, and I just hope this current crop that we've got coming through. There's three players that, in my opinion, are ready, and hopefully they get a chance. So one is Reese Haddam,
yeah,
very talented player. He could play centre left back. He can also play in the middle of the part two. Scored quite a few goals actually towards the back end of last season.
yeah.
Um, Naby, Naya Kirby.
Nah, Kobe, yeah,
He's a very good player.
because
I think
he played one of the pre-season friendlies, didn't he?
yeah,
Centre mid.
centre mid. Yeah, he's always kind
Yeah,
of
he
in
looks
and
like
around the pre-season aspect, and then
yeah,
you don't see him. So hopefully he breaks through this time round. And
yeah,
lastly, David Omilabu, centre forward. Yeah, he finished the season quite strong for the under 23s, scored
yeah,
quite a few goals and such. So we obviously won the cup, and I think we lost out on the league by goal difference
yeah,
with the
yeah.
under 23s. So yeah, those are the three that I'm excited for. So hopefully Vieira comes in and uses them.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's always the hope, man. And obviously Sean Derry done a great job with them last season, and I know he's joined Vieira to start the
Yeah,
preseason
so
training,
was
hasn't he? So
Paddy McCarthy as well.
yeah, so obviously he should put a good word in for some of these players. And obviously, yeah, moving on to Big Pat, man. And actually, just touching on before we talk about him,
Yeah,
what was your thoughts on the whole like managerial like merry-go-round kind of situation,
it
like
did my
and the
head.
process?
It really did my head in because as a fan, like I said, the importance of getting a manager in before preseason is mad. It's mental because you got to think the
Yeah, hundred
manager.
percent,
Imagine if the club started buying players. There's no manager in place. The manager comes in and says, "I don't like any of these players."
hundred
It's a
percent.
problem. So,
It always,
like the clock was ticking with obviously preseason starting this week. Some winning a bit, some winning last week and such. I was thinking to myself, "Are we going to get anyone in?" And I think the biggest problem I felt with the whole manager during merry-go-round was we then going to go back to the status quo of the Sean Dyche, Frank Lampard, who I wouldn't have minded Lampard to be honest, but like the usual candidates.
yeah,
Um, and I'm just glad that we've made this decision. Honestly, when I heard Nuno was close, I was ecstatic. I thought he's done such a good job for Wolves. I'll take him. At least he knows the league.
yeah,
That fell through, honestly. Um, Rumors were banded around that it fell through because he wanted to bring Adama Traore with him, and the club said no. You're gonna hear
really.
millions of rumors. We don't know
Was
what the
that
truth
was
is. So,
I can't see that being
I can't say it being
true.
true, but it was things
Yeah,
that were banded around. So honestly, I think one of the factors may have been money. There's probably been this discussion that we may not have enough money. Um,
because
but
I thought a factor might have been two things: obviously the money, but also the amount of squad exits. So
yeah,
a lot of managers wouldn't have maybe minded that amount of players leaving if they had the guarantee that there was a
a
lot of
lot of
money
money.
to spend.
Yeah, and this is it, and this is why it's so important to get someone in anyway, because that uncertainty with regards to the squad in itself, it's a massive hindrance because it's gonna fall on the manager regardless. The manager will be the one that gets sacked.
Mm-hmm.
This is job security at the end of the day.
100%. Yeah,
Like, so I don't blame any manager for thinking, you know what, I can't come into this if I'm gonna lose my job in 6 months.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
So
and
yeah, just Nuno fell through, and I thought, oh great, and then all of a sudden, um, what's it?
Lucian.
Lucien, I can't remember his name, Lucien Favre, and I was like, no way, I got gassed. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I was shocked at that one. Yeah,
this is so left field. The fact that we're even looking at a caliber of manager that I was just like, I was so excited. He's worked with the youth. He did a decent job with Dortmund, so he's obviously coached the likes of Sancho, Haaland for a brief moment. I just thought to myself, oh my days, this is a big deal. Literally, everything got accepted. It was now down to putting the work permit through, and he had a change of mind.
that was it. But what was the change of mind down to? Has it
So he's come out and said, or his representatives have come out and said that he doesn't want. He just needs a bit more time out of management. I don't buy it
interesting?
because you wouldn't have
I
gone
don't buy that.
through all that
All of that.
process
Yeah,
to the point where all Palace had to do was then apply for his work permit. Something went wrong
yeah,
in those. Something went wrong because he was mad close, like to the point where Mister Here We Go himself was talking about it. It was that
yeah.
close,
That's what I was thought. Yeah,
So when that
that's
I
interesting.
pulled through, I was like, no, and I dropped a little video on my channel just saying, who's left? What, Steve Cooper from Swansea, who's I think he's left Swansea now. Um, Lampard, who I think at once they said he felt that, and maybe I hope I'm not. Don't quote me. Just thought of what I've heard. He said that Palace is not a big enough club for him. Um, like I said, these could be
Interesting.
all rumors. So apologies
Crazy.
if
If he said if that's the truth, he's crazy because I don't see him coming into another Premier League job.
yeah.
To be honest, but that's
These
my
could be
opinion.
rumors again. Once again, so if it's wrong, I put my hands up and so on and so forth. But it's of just something I've heard, and obviously we've
Yeah.
seen banded about. Obviously Dash, who's been at Burnley for yonks, kept.
And do you know what? Listen, I know a lot of people might not agree with this here, but I think he's done a brilliant job at Burnley.
Oh, he's done a great job.
Um, I don't even really mind the style of play either. Like everyone
But the
can't
thing
play
is, with
champagne
Burnley, they
football.
know what they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think if you had brought that to Palace, the fans would have gone mad.
You think so?
I think so because
Okay.
apart from actually in patches this season, they really tried to play. They did try to play a
Yeah.
bit this season, but they're normally known as a back to front team, very quick. And
But
so,
sometimes, but sometimes with back to front, it can be good to watch. It just depends on how it's done.
I guess so, yes. And we tried that towards when we went to 4-4-2, where we would go from wing back to Benteke. And half the time, if
Yeah.
Benteke's not winning it, we're just under the cosh.
Yeah.
Whereas when we played the 4-3-3, we're trying to play it in those lines to get it to Saha's feet and
Yeah.
then play
Definitely.
from there.
Yeah.
The system dictates how you play half the time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So yeah, those are
Would
the
you have
ones
had
that are out there. So
Would you have had Eddie Howe?
yeah,
Okay.
I would
Cool.
have.
We agree on
I would
that.
have absolutely had anyhow. Don't know what's happened. What happened with him? I wonder if he had a. I was speaking to my mate who's also a Palace fan. He said that like Eddie Howe had an interview and he flunked it. Yeah,
Interesting.
which is
If that's true, yeah,
news to me
that's crazy. Yeah.
because he would have been perfect To be honest.
Yeah, because I've said this to other like Palace fans I know. I thought he was the man for the job, man, because I think sometimes in football we get too caught up on like the bad thing that happens to a manager
Yeah,
and not all the good things he's done. So
he
the
brought
amount of
he brought
seasons
Bournemouth from Division Two
exactly to the
to
Prem,
League Two.
playing really good football and maintained it for a long time.
Yeah,
And look, any managers down there long enough eventually would or could get relegated.
yeah.
But you can't. For me personally, I don't hold that against these managers. Same with Sean
No, as
Dyche.
soon as I
If
heard
Burnley get,
Eddie Howe, as soon as I heard Eddie Howe, I was like, yes, please,
yeah,
yes,
that's what I would have thought as well. But if he flunked the interview, I'm quite surprised by that. But and it's obviously led to obviously Patrick Vieira coming in charge, and
we did not see this
we know
coming.
he's did not. No one saw this coming.
Did
Obviously, we know
not
he
see
started off
this
at
coming.
no. Obviously, we know he started backroom staff at City,
Yeah,
behind the scenes, and then he went to New York City. Obviously, same club links.
yeah,
Then he's ended up at Nice. Done a good job at Nice, to be fair. I
yeah.
think got them
Started off
into
well.
Europe
I
as
think
well.
it got a bit toxic. I think he got labelled like as a tinker man,
Yeah.
and the Nice fans weren't pleased at all. But
But what's your thoughts on it for you guys now? Because
I'm
it's a big job, big risk.
yeah, massive risk, and it was no matter what, it was always going to be a risk, no matter what. Um,
Hmm.
but with risk comes reward. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
We could have played safe and got the Premier League experienced manager, and we may still not have done well. We don't know. This time will tell. You know, I'm just happy that when I look at Vieira, okay, yes, he may have had his ups and downs, but at the end of the day, he's new into the game. This is learning experience. Surely he'll take
Yeah.
what he's learned from Nice and hopefully learn from the good and the bad. The biggest thing I think is the fact that he went to the MLS as a former Premier League player to go and say, you know what, I'll go manage in America, where America has a massive stigma against it.
Yeah.
You know, it's seen as like the retirement home in a sense.
Yeah.
And like,
Definitely.
honestly, in England, it gets zero respect. You know,
Yeah. Definitely.
and mainly
No,
from
it's
the
the
fact
truth.
that
Yeah.
it's called soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for him to actually say, you know what, I'll go and try my management out there. Um, I like that. And once again, it's evident now that he's come to a club like ours, Palace. He could have said, wait, Palace? Really? But he hasn't, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really
But
happy about the appointment.
does he need to get the backroom staff like appointments right? Because does he need Premier League experience around him? Does he? Because we know he knows the Premier League because
Yeah.
obviously he's a like Premier League legend as a player, and I know he still keeps track of the Premier League. But does he need Premier League proven coaching experience around him
I honestly hope he
for it
keeps
to work?
as many of the youth team coaches close by, at least
Okay.
for the first season. Those coaches, like I said, the Sean Derrys, the Paddy McCarthy's, just those who've been in and around the system. Because obviously we've lost Hodgson, we've lost Ray Lewington, who are like the heartbeat
Yeah.
of our club for a
Tons of
couple of years.
experience. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I do hope so. Obviously, he's going to want to implement his own ideas and have his own stuff at some point. I just hope it's not this year. We've got such a massive rebuild.
Yeah, because look, I'm not going to pretend that I know about Nice and their style of play. But if you know anything, like into his style of play, how does he play?
He does try to play out the back.
Okay.
Um, he likes to get his wingers wide, from what I've seen of him. And it's kind of similar to what we're used to. You know,
Yeah.
the tinkering. I guess he may not be able to tinker as much with our club, but
Yeah. Definitely.
because obviously some may say tinkering works. Look at Ranieri.
Yeah.
You know, he managed to
But
get.
to be fair, I think one thing we should point out though, I think that I did know about Nice. I think they had wealthy owners. They bought a lot of players,
Yeah,
so I think
the
he could
expectation
kind of
here was a lot different.
was a lot higher.
A
Yeah,
lot.
and I think he had enough players to do that. But
Yeah,
I don't see obviously you see that being a problem with you
I
guys.
don't think so. No, I don't think so. And I like the fact that once again that he started from Man City youth, so he's got experience playing with youth players. You know,
Yeah,
and it's yes, you know what? Just got to support him. That's all we can do. Is
and
just
just get
support him
behind it. Yeah,
because
Yeah,
this will probably be the hardest season we have had in the last 6, 7 years.
yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. With all the changes, with the exits, um, it would have been hard just changing manager, but with
Mm.
that adding that into it, it's definitely gonna be a tough season, and that leads me probably like obviously onto my next question. What do you think the squad needs? Now I know there's I know there's a lot of exits, so but what does the squad definitely need in your opinion?
We're quite fortunate that we've got decent fullbacks. I think we need to somehow make sure we keep Gary Cahill. And yeah, if our defence, if Cahill and Tompkins stay, if that's our back four with Mitchell and whether it's Ward or Kleiny or Ferguson, I'm happy with that back four because it's trusted.
Yeah,
This I don't think we can't have too many changes this year. Yes, obviously we know a lot of players are out of contract. What I would like to see is a bit more dynamism in the midfield because that's the only way we're
100%,
going to be able
100%.
to. It's the only way we're going to be able to progress the ball. It's the only way we're going to be able to get out of our own half. So if he decides to play with a three, I'm happy with Milo and Gyro, and obviously Eze when he comes back fit, and then he can work on whatever front three he wants and such. But like, no disrespect to MacArthur and McCarthy, great servants to the club, especially MacArthur, but we just need a bit more in there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with sentiment. I think there definitely needs like new ideas in their energy and legs, but someone who can also progress the ball as well.
Yeah,
And yeah, if Ferguson's fit at right back, I think that's good as well.
yeah.
Are you happy with the wingers? Because I feel like maybe you need a winger.
That actually might be a point. I mean, Jordan's done a good job there. Towns has done a good job, but Ayu's not a natural winger. He's not.
Let's not.
I mean, I was a bit cheeky. Like Vieira tweeted, I was like, "Yo, make sure you get that Doku guy from Rennes." Like, he's got to
Yeah,
use his French connections. Like,
hundred
literally,
percent,
that
100%. He'd
Doku
be a
might be
great
looking
signing.
for a little step up.
He'd be a great signing.
Oh, he's gonna go
He's out.
somewhere, surely.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And that's what I feel like. If we can
That
move
game
him, uh,
he played so well against Italy.
oh,
He's
he
brilliant.
was unreal. And like, I'm kind of tuning my head to say that Saha's going. You know,
I don't know. I was ifing and ahhing if I was gonna talk about him because I know it annoys a lot of Palace
it
fans.
does.
I know it's a boring
It's
discussion
every
every
Premier League.
summer. Every time there's a good game, other fans are linking in with clubs, and I
Yeah.
know it gets really annoying because most of the time there's not even any bids in for him, which
This is
gets
it.
silly.
Yeah, the transfer
But
rumors
so
just the rumors just come out of nowhere. Really.
yeah, because I personally I wasn't gonna ask because I think he's staying. I don't see anyone coming in for him because, in my opinion, I think he should only leave for European football.
Yeah,
And if it's not for that, there's no point leaving.
and I'm sure he has that
So
ambition because I genuinely think it won't even be for a Premier League club. I think
yeah, I think so.
I think like a Dortmund.
Hmm.
You know,
Do you think they can afford him though?
we've just got money for Sancho, haven't we?
Yeah, but they don't. They like to extort clubs when they sell, but they don't really like to pay that when they're signing players,
Yeah,
do they?
but Saha doesn't have that long on his contract either, on that, so he won't go for much.
I think
You know.
let's be positive. I think he's staying. Yeah,
No, I want him to
let's be
stay.
positive.
Absolutely, I want him to
Yeah,
stay.
definitely.
But I
Yeah,
just feel like it's just a drawn out. You know what? Give him the captain's armband and make him sign a new contract, and then at least I get peace of mind.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, hundred
You know,
percent. Because like I said anyway, I do think he's staying. That's not something I thought was an issue because I think someone has to actually make a realistic bid, and I don't see that happening.
yeah,
But and obviously the striker situation. Obviously, Benteke signed another
he's signing
deal.
a new deal. Mateta seems like he's still there. I knew we signed him on a loan to with option to buy. I've seen him in club shop pictures, so I'm assuming we're going to make that deal
That
permanent.
he's going to be staying. Yeah,
Yeah, which I don't mind. I like Mateta. I've liked what I've
yeah.
seen of him, and I've only seen little bits because he's not played much.
And I just feel like, obviously, with his height as well and like his physical presence, I think it just takes overlapping fullbacks, crosses in the
Yeah,
box, I think he's going to do damage
He
if he
will.
gets the service.
But he can also do the getting behind sort of thing and link
Yeah,
up play as well. He's literally all rounded.
yeah, yeah,
So I was just
yeah,
surprised I
man.
didn't see much minutes last year.
Yeah, the weird Hodgson, another one of his.
Yeah.
It's a weird one with that. But so what's your overall thoughts for next season? Where do you see yourself finishing? How do you see it going? Do
Oh
you
man,
like what's your thoughts on next season?
I'm nervous, but I'm also very hopeful.
Yeah,
No word of a lie. I'll give you. I might have to come back to you on where we'll finish. I just want to see how we do in preseason. Just see how like some of the games go. But yeah, I am nervous because even with the clubs that have come up, like, I always look to them first and think, okay, would we stay up above them, sort of thing?
yeah,
Because naturally, the teams that come up tend to like 2/3 of them go down. I think Brentford are going to be very decent,
hmm,
so that leaves Norwich and Watford. That gives me hope. That is Norwich and Watford. Um,
yeah,
I think we can stay above those two teams in the league. So now it's just one other, and there's going to be the likes of us, Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley. Wolves might get dragged in now with a change of manager.
You think so?
Yeah, they didn't have the best of seasons last year. Jimenez is a massive miss for them.
He was a massive miss.
Massive miss. I don't know when his return is, because obviously that was a bad injury and such.
I think he should be back soon. I think if I
But
remember
they
correctly.
just didn't look good at all last year. So there's a few clubs that could get dragged.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and that's where I'm a bit hopeful that it's not just going to be us that might suffer from the amount of changes that may be needed.
So where do you see yourself finishing?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, Chest.
Yeah, man. You could
Um,
get off the fence, man. Get off the fence.
between 10th and 15th.
I said that. Okay, cool. Because the other thing I was going to say is, as much as there's a lot of exits, some of these lot potentially could still
Yeah,
re-sign, and the bulk of your better players of last season are still at the
I'm
club.
still there. Yeah,
You still have Guaita, you still have Zaha,
yeah,
Luca's still there, Benteke's re-signed, so you know Tompkins is still there as well.
yeah.
A lot of your good players are
As long
still
as we,
there,
yeah,
so
as long as we keep the main bulk,
the core of the team is still there.
yeah, and then blood in, like I said, a couple of the youngsters that we've got, I'll be happy with that.
Definitely. And in terms of like signings that you've been linked with, I remember earlier on in the window there was the winger from Bristol City, Semenyo. Is that how you say his
Yes,
name?
yeah.
He looks like a good talent.
It's gone quiet.
Yeah.
It's gone quiet, and I think it's just because of the managerial situation.
Okay. Cool.
So hopefully in the next week we'll start hearing a few more
It
names.
starts to pick up a bit.
Yeah, and so
It has to, man. Yeah, because the season's not around the corner, man.
this
But
is it. I mean, if I was to, if there's players that I would want, I've obviously mentioned Doku. Um, if it weren't for the fact that he signed was it a 6-7 year contract with Newcastle, I would have taken Mr. Gucci himself. Like,
Saint, yeah, on this podcast we call him Saint Offset. But yeah, he would be a great signing for Palace. He
yeah,
would be. Yeah,
mm,
I like watching him.
good player, very good
Yeah,
player.
yeah,
Because yeah, as you said, we do actually need another winger. And well, it's all dependent on what formation we play. But if we're assuming we're going 4-3-3, Saha on the left, we need a right winger.
yeah, 100%, man.
And such. And Pateke ended the season extremely well.
He did, yeah. Found the shooting boots again.
Found his feet again. So hopefully he can take that into next season. If we just keep getting crosses into the box, we'll be fine. He'll score goals.
Definitely,
He'll score goals.
definitely. I think he'll be fine actually. To be honest, well, I'm hoping so anyway. I think with a few good signings, like you said, some of the youth players and hopefully re-signing some of these players
Yeah,
that have had their contracts expired, I think you can stay up because, especially if you keep some of them guys, like he said, for the experience, especially with a new manager coming in, it needs a bit more stability.
It
So
does,
hopefully
especially this
some of them,
first year. It's a
yeah,
massive year,
definitely,
and I
man.
think I'm definitely hopeful and I'm optimistic. I am nervous.
Yeah, no, definitely, man, definitely, man. But yeah, I think it'll be a good season, man. But fingers crossed, obviously, because I do like watching the Palace. So yeah, man. But yeah, Rich, man, thanks for coming on.
Loved it.
Let everyone know about your podcast and your YouTube channel.
So yeah, on YouTube at Eagle Eyed Football. So that's hyphen e Eagle Eyed Football.
Yeah,
So obviously where the season was out, I'm just at the moment covering like the Euros, just
yeah,
talking to fans of all different clubs because it's just about talking football. You know what I mean? Love talking about the game. But obviously, more and more Palace content will come out.
yeah.
I also actually started a show a couple weeks ago as well called USI on the same channel, just talking about American sports.
Mm-hmm.
I just love talking sports as well. To be fair, so
100%, yeah,
you know,
100%, man.
so yeah, you check me out on YouTube, and on YouTube, I'm on Twitter at Eagle Eyed Ball, and on Instagram, at Eagle underscore eyed underscore football. I think I've covered all my platforms. Yeah, that is all. That is all. But yeah, check out the
Don't
channel.
worry
Check
about it.
out the channel.
Yeah, man, good man. And yeah, you can also follow us on at the PTTW podcast on Twitter and on Instagram, and obviously subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And yeah, man, thanks for listening.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, man.